Hello, Ken.
Hello.
Can you first of all tell us where you were born?
Well, I was born in Warrington. I was born in 1927, 25th of February. All the three of us come here, me as a baby, a 6-year-old. And so they said, you've got to go to school, so I went to St John's School. And Mr Roach was the headmaster at St John's School. And so life was all right, you know, but I did some misdemeanours like smoking once. As a kid, what we used to do, we used to come up Church Street and go down by the side of the Winter Gardens, and there was a big ramp to the garage. I think it's still here, is it? Garage up here. And we used to sit under there and listen to the music from the Winter Gardens. And one of the lads, little lads with me, found this old pipe without a stem on. So we used to pick dockers up in the street and put them in this pipe and sit there listening to the music and smoking. I was only about 7 then, 7 or 8. Anyway, somebody must have seen us. I didn't know later in life somebody had seen us and told my mother and said, your Ken has been smoking under that ramp at Winter Gardens. So I didn't know any of this, and my mother told me later in life, Mr Roach called me in the office, you know, at St John's School. My mother never said anything to it. She must have gone to the school and said to Mr Roach, our Ken has been smoking. Will you tell him offline? So he had me in the office. I think, it could be right going over, you know, so right shouting out, you know. So that was the end of the smoking. You know, there was no national health then. So if you went to the doctors, it cost. And my mother had no money. So what we used to do, we used to go to Mr Matthews. Mr Matthews was the greatest fellow that ever lived in Blackpool. He had the shop on the corner of King Street and Corn Street. Everybody knew Mr Matthews. And if you were ill or anything, you went to Mr Matthews at the chemist. He charged you like, but he didn't charge you like a doctor charged you. And anything, if you had a cold or anything, because in them days, you know, if you had a cold, your parents, if you had a chesty cold, they used to rub goose grease on your chest. And if you had a sore throat, you got a sweaty sock tied around your neck. It's all true, I'm not kidding you. This is what happened. Anyway, we used to go to Mr Matthews. Anyway, he had a little office in his chemist, and the Hippodrome was across the road, and he had all these pictures of the stars. The stars, if they felt ill at the Hippodrome, if you ever dug one up and they'd tell you about it, if they were ill, they used to go across the road, see Mr Matthews, and then back on the stage again, you know. Anyway, we used to go to the Pictures Regent. We used to go to Regent Pictures. It was on a Saturday afternoon. We used to see Flash Gordon, who else? Tarzan, Johnny Weissmuller going up the canal like a motorboat. He finished up swimming in our swimming baths, you know. Johnny, it's been in the paper. Johnny Weissmuller and them, and it was 2pence at the front, 3pence at the back, and 5pence in the gods. That was on a Saturday afternoon. And so my mother had no money to give me, so I had to do jobs. So what I did, I used to chop firewood. I used to get firewood. I used to go to Moore's Market, which was on Abingdon Street, and they used to put their orange boxes outside. There was also a fella that wasn't a full shilling, and he was an oldish fella, and he was called the Firewood King. And he was a bit nutty, you know, and he had an axe, and he used to chase you up the road, you know, if you were taking his wood like so. Anyway, he used to get these orange boxes, and I used to go sit in the yard at 27 King Street chopping this wood up. And then I'd find some wire and fasten it round, and I used to sell this firewood to people, because everybody had coal fires then, you know. Somebody said, do you know there's a good job like carrying bags? Didn't think of wheels, but carrying bags cases never had wheels on, so I went carrying bags on a Saturday morning, you know.
From the train station?
I went all over train station, but I was only little, you know, and it used to kill me. They used to have big bags and I used to be travelling along. My mother took me along the Golden Mile, and then we used to pass out everything, like, you know, the station, and then go around the corner, and there was all the side shows, you know. There was like a lady with a beard, woman with a beard, and Stiffkey, a reverend or something. He was in an ice box or something. And you'd go further on, and then there was Luna Park, was a big amusement place. It was an entertainment going up the Golden Mile. You were fascinated. You didn't have to spend any money. Locals never spent money. We just had to laugh at everything. There was spielers, you know. They fascinate you, honestly. These guys were fantastic. There was one guy there, and he was something else, and I always remembered him as a kid. I used to watch him, and he was a right dapper fella, and he had a tash, and he used to paint his tash. I think he put boot polish on, you know, on his tash, and he was something else. He could get the crowd going. So, you know, really get them going. And you'd always stood there, it didn't cost you nothing, but he'd get you in the place, you know. You'd go and see the woman with two heads. Mr. Pablo was the man. Pablo's ice cream, he was the best. Once a year, he gave all the kids in Blackpool ice cream for nothing. You run from getting out to school, from Claremont School to Pablo's at back of Albert Road. We used to queue up, and he gave everybody ice cream for nothing. So one year I went, and you just got one doings. So somebody had said, oh, you want to take a basin? So next year I took a basin. I hid it in Clover at Claremont, and then I run it all the way from Claremont School down to Albert Road, and there was a queue right up the back entry, about 4 deep, you know, and we all had those basins and things, you know. When I had the basin, she'd give you 2 scoops, and do you want some red stuff on? I say, yeah, you know. So, oh, fantastic. He was a fantastic man, was Pablo. He gives something back to the town. You know, we walked along the promenade, and my mum said, we'll go down here. I said, oh, what's... And then we came across this place, and she said, it's a singing booth. I said, what do they do in there? She said, well, she said, they sell music. And like this, say this room was it, there was a big gantry here, on the stand, with a platform that run along. And there was 2 or 3 blokes on here with armfuls of music, you know. And they used to sell you the music, you know, and the writing, and to be able to sing the songs, the music had the words underneath. And so at this left-hand side, they had a big shutter they could pull down with the words on of this song they were trying to sing itself. And then they had a little cinematograph that they put slides in, and that was on the wall. I don't know whether it was a pianist or whether it was a record player. I just don't remember. I remember the music. They flashed this thing on, and it was a little ship, blue sky, clouds, and this ship floated across, you know. And then the music come down. Red sails in the sunset, way out on the sea. Oh, carry my loved one home safely to me. And that was the music. That was the music. That was it. And then and all these people did have cloth hats on. They'd come from inland towns. They'd had clogs on. Some of them had clogs on. All packed together in this place, singing their hearts out, you know. And half of them didn't buy out because they couldn't afford it. They used to just go and sing, you know, with music and that. And it was like a sideline. I mean, people, they wanted you to buy it, but that's what it was, and that was the singing room.